welcome back to Shakesyear. We are so close to being done with Act 2, Scene 5 of Henry VI, Part 2. This is the last monologue in the scene, and this monologue ends the scene, which started out with Mortimer being like, oh, I'm dying, and then Mortimer being like, oh, my nephew Richard has it so much worse, and then Richard came in, and Mortimer was like, Richard was like, tell me some stuff, and Mortimer was like, here, let me give you a little history lesson and all that sort of thing. And Richard's takeaway from the whole thing was that the murder of his father, the Earl of Cambridge, who was killed by Henry V for plotting against Henry V, Richard decides that that was not a legitimate thing, so he needs to go fight to try to get his name and his titles and all that sort of stuff restored through that lineage. And he's like, you know, this is a bunch of fooiness. And Mortimer's like, oh, be careful who you're too political around, because there's lots of ears everywhere and people tend to get upset about things. And then he dies. And immediately after he dies, Richard says, and peace, no war befall thy parting soul. In prison hast thou spent a pilgrimage, and like a hermit overpast thy days. Well, I will lock his counsel in my breast, and what I do imagine, let that rest. Keepers, convey him hence, and I myself will see his burial better than his life. Here dies the dusky torch of Mortimer, choked with ambition of the meaner sort. And for those wrongs, those bitter injuries which Somerset hath offered to my house, I doubt not but with honour to redress. And therefore haste I to the Parliament, either to be restored to my blood, or make my will the advantage of my good. So yeah, he's got some fire in his belly now. He got what he wanted, and he's gonna go and he's gonna fight whoever he has to fight to get his lands and titles restored, and he's gonna take down Somerset, because Richard now thinks that he has the greater right to the throne than anybody else currently in the running, therefore, or in possession thereof. Anyway, tomorrow we get to move on to the rest of the play and get back to some of the other interesting stuff that's going on, like Joan of Arc leading the French to beat the English and all of this sort of fun stuff. We'll get back to that tomorrow, and I will see you then. Mwah.